I'm from Zimbabwe. I came here in 2003, quite a long time ago now, after I fell victim to political violence in my own country. Well, I have refugee status, which is Section 24, and that means I'm a recognized refugee. The reason why we are working with LRC is that we want to improve the situation for immigrants, asylum seekers, and refugees.
What's been happening over the past couple of years is there's been a clear crackdown and an attempt to make life harder for asylum seekers and refugees. The most glaring example of which is the closure by the Department of Home Affairs of the refugee reception offices in Johannesburg, Port Elizabeth, and now Cape Town. All three of those closures have been declared to be unlawful by the courts, but nothing has been done about it.
We don't trust them because they have already not followed the two High Court orders to open this place. When we started, it was in 2003. The queues then were not so long, but things started deteriorating from about 2004. There were influxes of people coming in, and the queues began to extend outside this fence, and the queue management was poor as well. We also began to see instances of corruption where officials would demand a certain amount of money. And the worst part of it is that these papers that they give us, the refugee papers, are not recognized by some institutions.
So multi-layered the problem. So obviously the huge problem is access to asylum. Along the way you have problems. People are unable to open bank accounts. Employers insist that you have a bank account in order to pay you. So that has a snowball effect. Hospitals, many out of ignorance, don't help people if they haven't got papers, even where they're entitled to help in terms of the Constitution.
We are coming here from Monday to Friday to monitor how many newcomers are sent away by them. And so we take the name of the newcomer, telephone number, how many attempts they have made to document themselves, and other details. If a case against Home Affairs, we gather information and we submit the information to the Legal Resource Center that will actually go to court on behalf of organizations like us. They are lying that there are no newcomers coming here, and they also argued that they don't have space. We have since established that there's a lot of space in there.
In the case of Cape Town, where new arrivals aren't being assisted at all now, they're being told that they have to approach Durban, Pretoria or Musina, which are a long way away. There's a very competent and decent appeals officer in Cape Town, so there's no reason why, if a decision has already been taken in another centre, it can't be transferred to Cape Town, rather than disrupting the person's life to that extent.
This is a person who doesn't have a document. What about if on his way to Musina he's picked by immigration officials? He is definitely going to be deported before he even applies for asylum.
Over the years, we've had to bring a lot of applications to enforce asylum seekers and refugees' rights. So enabling people to remain in the country pending the outcome of their application, or when challenging a negative result, ensuring that people can renew their permits in a different area to that they obtained their original permit. And that's very important because a lot of people don't get their matters adjudicated for 3, 4, 5 years. So it's quite natural that you go and find a job elsewhere or go and live elsewhere within the country, and you shouldn't be forced to travel back to your original port of entry every 3 or 6 months. Then we had to ensure that asylum seekers were entitled to work and study while awaiting adjudication. Genuine asylum seekers clearly don't make provision or arrive in a situation where they don't have work, they don't have savings, and they would otherwise be forced to rely on charity to get an income. So it's an issue of dignity, among others.
I work in the communities. We try and promote working together, especially between South Africans and the immigrant community living within the township.
There was an outbreak of horrific xenophobic violence in 2008. There have been sporadic attacks ever since, and I think it's problematic that there hasn't been a message of tolerance and acceptance towards migrants given by both civil society and the government.
This was a community of refugees, people who had run away from the situations in their own countries, people who had gone through difficult times, and it was like a replay of what had happened to quite a lot of people. It was traumatic, I must say. When locals see us, they really see a threat in terms of how they are going to survive themselves, how they are going to secure jobs. There is competition for scarce resources.
South Africa has an enormous number of asylum seekers and refugees. The Department of Home Affairs has not done at all well. There's a backlog of over 70,000 cases on appeal.
It's not easy to be a refugee. First, if you don't have a document, you can't be employed. You can't access health if you don't have a document. You can't access education. The document then becomes the most important part of a refugee's life. And as you can see, it also becomes a source of all trouble.